Hello, everyone. Wow, this is kind of in my way. Okay.
Just
Welcome
smack it with your head.
Yeah. Welcome to an episode of Fangirls Assemble. I stopped putting numbers on them because now I just want to be surprised.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
There's no expectation. It's fine.
Exactly. It's a Sunday night. We have the cool, calm, high-res background here.
Yeah,
Because
that's
at
right.
Fangirls Assemble, we're going to choose a high-res background that makes sense.
That should be our new tagline. Here you're not going to
That's the appeal.
Foreheads and such that you may get elsewhere.
I've seen some StreamYards on the internet, on YouTube, with some channels, and I'm like, whoa, you guys, it's loud.
Yeah.
Oh, look, all of our friends are here. We got Philip. We got Carly.
Philip.
We got Aria. What's up?
Oh, what's up, guys?
Good to see you all. We're here to talk about Scarlet Witch. Before we do so, let's talk about a place you can buy some comics. Probably not Scarlet Witch. I'm pretty sure that's out of stock everywhere.
Yeah.
But some other comic books. InStockTrades.com, where you can get up to 50% off on your comics and free shipping in the United States if you spend over $50. And we have a pick of the month for you guys. That is X-Men Evolution, the graphic novel. And let me tell you, X-Men Evolution, why read other X-Men? You know what I mean? Like, it's complicated.
Why?
We haven't rebooted the universe in so long, right?
Yeah.
Why not? Would it be better if it was like a fan fiction high school alternative universe?
Yes.
Yes. Where Rogue is goth.
Yes.
And Kitty's always having her midriff out.
Yes.
You know?
That's right.
The show that made me not like Jean, which took me years to get over, and I still barely have.
I was gonna say, I don't think you're over it.
I like the.
We're not over it.
Yeah, I like that Jean Grey from the past that came to the present who has cute short hair. I like her.
Yeah.
But I think the unfortunate, like, the sexism, right, towards fellow women imposed on me made me hate Jean Grey as a youth. I was like, this popular nice girl? No. How come Scott doesn't like Rogue? She's better. But that's our pick of the month, so you can get that at a discounted price right now.
Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, they had their new releases pushed back.
That's true.
So the Ice Storm in Memphis, which is totally understandable. Actually, when they said that, I was very happy to see them push it back. I'm like, here's a company who cares about their employees. As someone who had to go to work in an ice storm and was sliding all around, there's a big truck in front of me that spun out and like ran into a ditch, and it was horrifying. And I'm traumatized. So I appreciate them as a company who cares about their employees.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna have double new releases Tuesday. One of them will be X-Men Evolution. It's very exciting.
Yeah, so check it out. Carly said, I just disliked Jean because of the X-Men movies. Also fair.
Yeah, totally.
I disliked the X-Men movies because I loved X-Men Evolution so much. I was too pretentious to enjoy, as Rogue. That was why. I was sad about Rogue. I mean,
I loved both because Anna Paquin
I do love
Rogue
her
in the movies, and I love her. I loved the Rogue of the movies, but I was also a child when these movies came out. So
I was a pretentious child. It was a different me, Kristen.
I see. It's okay.
I'm better now. I just enjoy things, but I was very pretentious back then.
I was just like, oh my gosh, these comic books are on the big screen.
Yay. I didn't read comics. I just watched the cartoons. So, Bobby, Pork's in the front, Grogu in the back. It's a Star Wars party.
That's right.
Hello, ladies. Peace and love from Malaysia. Peace and love.
Yeah.
Hey, kids. Hey, you too, Mark Zimmer. Maddie, I saw you reviewed These Savage Shores with Omar a long time ago. I'm happy it's getting recognition it deserves now and what a writer Ram V is. Sorry, I can talk. I'm reading his Blue and Green now. I am dying to read it.
Yeah, I want to read that too.
And I definitely will soon. Oh, no, Freddie. Hi, favorite people. My favorite people. Work early tomorrow. Get some rest.
Get some sleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
So, we're talking Scarlet Witch. Which I thought it would all be available on Marvel Unlimited, and I was incorrect.
Wait, really?
Sad. Yeah.
The 15 issues, isn't it? Because that's all I read.
That's all I read. I can read it on Marvel Unlimited. Could you?
I thought that was it. Just the 15. Is that wrong?
No, that's all I read, but it wasn't available for me to read on Marvel Unlimited. So I had to buy two of the
I
volumes.
read it on Marvel Unlimited.
Well, I hate Marvel Unlimited. I hate it.
That's why I was like, aren't there only 15? That's all that's on there.
Yeah, maybe it's a different version that's available because I went to click one because it's impossible to like search. And it was like, no, it's not available on here. I was like, oh, okay. So then I bought the 2 volumes on Comixology that I had left because the first one's on Unlimited.
Yeah, I read the first one on Unlimited.
Yeah.
Comixology Unlimited. And then I read the rest of the issues to 15.
Oh,
Scarlet
I'm
Witch
so
2015 is the one.
Why did it do that to me? Anyways, whatever. I'm just bad at search. Maybe on the phone.
I'm looking at it now, so. Oh, well, I don't know. I was on my iPad, but.
Oh, see, I looked on my desktop, which is why.
I was gonna say it ended in a way that made me think there wasn't more.
No, it's done. Oh man. Well, you're welcome, Comixology Unlimited.
Well, yeah, that's good at least.
Here you go. I hope James Robinson and like the 5 million artists that worked on Scarlet Witch get some money.
Do we just need to start there?
Okay, so let's real quick. So this is an interesting. This is not what I was expecting. I think the overall story is fine. What I was surprised by is that the artist changes every issue, which I was not expecting.
Yeah.
There were so many artists, and some of them changed the looks of people. Agatha, out of nowhere.
Let's see. I didn't think this through, but I sent some images to a friend of mine. I should have sent them to you, but I didn't know if you were reading it yet or not. Because some of the art, I had a lot of problems with. Let me start there. Where's that image? Did I send it to Reed, maybe?
Well, see, that's what was difficult because, like, and we'll get to the story and everything else. And I hate to start with the art first, but it was, I don't think I've read anything else that's not an anthology where the art changes every chapter. Everybody's saying it was Agatha all along, which I love. That song's been stuck in my head all day, since Friday.
Okay. This is from, I believe, the first issue. Sorry.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. What are those proportions? What's happening? What is that face? Oh, I wish. There it goes.
There it goes.
What is happening? Like, I hate to bash art, but at the same time, and then they came around again later, and this was the one.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
It was like.
Did it come?
Ooh.
So they were the first issue and the last issue, right?
That sounds right. I mean, she's seen stuff. Like it's just this. So those were the two that really got me. I was like, what? This is going to haunt my dreams.
Yeah, I think it was difficult because there was some art that I loved. Absolutely loved.
Yeah, some of it was really good.
Oh, man. But then it would be gone. And so I think, like, sometimes I appreciate, sometimes I don't. It's just, sometimes it can break up the flow of the book for me.
Yeah. Well, especially when it would change art and then it's like, who's this? Like,
and,
because
and also change word bubble style too.
Yeah.
So you're used to reading one way and you have to keep switching it up. And I hope we don't get a comment now that's just like, y'all aren't smart enough to read it. It's not that. But man, I think like even the styles of art that I didn't like as much, I would have probably loved a lot more if that was the whole time. You know? But it's such a big discrepancy in between that it was kind of hard to follow sometimes.
Especially because, like, we hate when we read a run like this and art changes, even 5-6 issues, you know.
Absolutely.
Like the new Buffy, after that first volume, it's like, oh no, this is bad. Because it goes from Dan Mora to, like, whatever was happening after that. And it really pulls you out of it. It really does. So that was difficult to get through for me, too. I didn't love it.
Jesse, maybe Agatha did, but only for the 2 chapters that she was younger and her hair was longer, but then it went back to normal. Out of nowhere.
It was it's confusing. I will say, okay, so can we start with like everybody knows I've watched WandaVision. Well, I'm caught up now, so we're good. And I went from catching up to WandaVision to reading this. I will say there's a lot of hype around this book right now because of that. You're obviously not going to get anything remotely similar. That's how I felt, at least.
Yeah, I think if you're looking for something more similar to the show, Vision is a better choice.
Yeah, definitely.
At least if you're looking for something that's more of that like family dynamic with something a little weird and off. So like when I saw that WandaVision was announced, I was like, oh, Vision makes a lot of sense.
Totally.
But I still enjoyed the book. I think I would have preferred a different type of, it wasn't like a 10 out of 10 for me. And not just because of the art, but I think like, even though the stories were interesting and I appreciate that she went to a lot of different countries and things like that, I would have liked a different story with her, something that felt more personal. And that might be my bias because when we have single character books, I'm really spoiled by Marvel as compared to DC, I think.
Yeah.
That when there's a single character book, we usually get something really interesting with them. It feels very personal and very just like, and it's less about the big fights and doing things. It feels more like a weird personal journey. There's some like, there's more quipping and things. And I would have liked more of that. But I still enjoyed it overall. It just wasn't like a 10 out of 10 like a lot of the other Marvel single character runs that I've read.
Yeah, this was really episodic. It felt like every issue was its own, and not, I don't know. I really started it, especially that first volume. I was not enjoying myself at all. I was like, I really don't care about this. I didn't feel like there's any character development with her.
No.
Maybe throughout the whole thing. I mean, she went through stuff, but I just had a rough time caring. And that's a just completely different feeling than I had in the show, where I really care about her, even like from the movies and stuff, like, and is that Elizabeth Olsen? Is it just the actor bringing something to it? I don't know.
Well, I think I've read like things of like other stories that have Scarlet Witch in them, that have Wanda, are relatable and interesting. But I think this one, she kind of got lost in the overall narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Her personal journey that should have been really touching and interesting, especially given the character she meets along the way.
Yeah.
And especially with her relationship to magic and magic dying. But I feel like they were so busy on the whole, like what you said, the different episodes, but not in a fun way, not in a Monster of the Week way.
Yeah. And that's what made me think, because, at some point, like, for instance, Angel kind of went that route toward the later seasons. And I think that worked well, kind of the beginning, but then they came back at the end. That worked really well for them. You can just jump in, but you already cared about the characters, right? And I think that's where it was lacking for me. Like, so I read the first volume and I was just like, I'm not enjoying this at all. I think it got better actually toward the middle and the end.
Yeah.
Because of like, she dealt with, everything she dealt. I don't want to like ruin it for anybody, but I cared a little bit more. This didn't make me feel like if there were more issues in this run, I wouldn't have read them. Like if there was like if he comes back and writes more, I'm just like, I don't think I care enough. I think, a lot of people praise she talks about her depression, but does she? Because she mentions it like once, and then
very minimally.
We do see the issue, which I will give them credit for, that I liked more than maybe all the other issues, where she's in therapy, because you don't see that, and that was interesting. But then the twist at the end made it kind of be like, yeah,
that's kind of a bummer.
Which I don't want to say, but I was like, oh well, I still give it them credit for that issue, and I thought that was really interesting, and I want to see more of that. It was still positive, but there was something about that twist that made it be like, oh, that's not like exactly what we're seeing here then. Yeah. What we thought we were seeing isn't really what we were seeing.
Yeah, and there's a lot of really great bones in here. Like talking about the depression, there are some instances where she sort of revisits some issues of her past lovers, friends, her children, right? Her leaving the Avengers because she messed things up. Her not wanting to get involved in like major politics, a la Civil War, her kind of estranged relationship with her brother. and her finding out about her past, which has been reinvented by this point. She's no longer Magneto's daughter. She's not a mutant. All that stuff that has been canon, it was not canon anymore, which is very interesting. And you really could have, I think it could have been spun a little bit differently to where we really grow with her through that. So that way by the end, the one spoiler I'll give at the end is at the end, she says, I want to join the Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that does not spoil anything big. But like, which in and of itself is a good end to a book if you start it correctly and you really have this like introspection journey throughout. With her being like, okay, my life is kind of a mess right now. And just like my personal mess of my depression and like me not recovering and you know, my personal relationships are lost. I don't feel connected to my children. I don't feel connected to my lover or past lover. All I have is Agatha and she's dead. And just like me, my personal trauma, the magic itself is also broken. What am I supposed to do? And her finding purpose at the end, like that sounds great. You give me just that little piece, I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That sounds like something you can really go off of. And then, you know, by her visiting these different people across the world who do different magic differently, she could have learned through them how to find her magic back. And we're given the perfect situation to mirror that at the beginning-ish. Maybe it's volume 2. Yeah, because the art was good. Where she helps that guy in France, who's a French superhero who has wings, but he can't fly anymore because he's gone through a traumatic experience. He just doesn't have it in him. What a great story for her to help him deal with his trauma and then also realize her own, right? Like think Kiki's delivery service, where she can't fly anymore because she's too in her head. That's the story I want. I want her rebuilding her magic. I want her, you know, learning from other areas of witchcraft and not just her like Russian witchcraft, whatever.
Mm-hmm. I want an issue where she's going to the grocery store and she's just losing it.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, there's really good bones. It had something really good going here. I think it didn't hit the mark. And I do think that the art didn't help since it was switching a lot. So it was hard to get comfortable. And they were too focused on big picture, big episodic things, but not in a fun way that furthers her growth.
Yeah, it's like the interpersonal aspect of it wasn't really there.
Yeah, and it should have been.
Yeah, it was more about the big magic. It was more about all these other big things, the big events, everything she had, the big situation she was put in. That should have, like, again, I should have cared more. But, I feel like it was better toward the end because you experienced more. But I was still like, I'm glad I didn't buy this, like, you know, because I didn't care enough. I'd rather go watch the show again.
Yeah, show's great.
Yeah,
we can go revision again. Just,
you
know, be a little bummed out by animal death. But
yeah.
And I still want to read more Scarlet Witch, but this one isn't really what I want from her.
Yeah, which makes me think if anyone watching has better suggestions for us, if we didn't.
Oh, absolutely.
What should we read? Because I'm interested. I'm definitely interested in the character, but this was not it for me.
Yeah, like I never read House of M. I know what it is, obviously. I know a lot of like Wanda's life, but I haven't really read Wanda stuff. But man, she's got so much to work with.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff. And it's stuff that like, and this is the best opportunity now because she's blowing up.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone on TikTok, regular people, like my coworker and I, we like text each other about WandaVision. We have long conversations about WandaVision.
That's awesome.
And she has read 2 Marvel comics that I've recommended for her to read, which is Vision and World of Wakanda, because she came on my show to do it. But she doesn't know anything else. Like now I hope we get the story the person story that we deserve to have, that Marvel does very well with a lot of those characters.
Yeah.
They get canceled, but they're good.
They're not long, but they're there.
they're memorable. Or stuff I reread.
Yeah.
Hayden says, I've heard the Vision and Scarlet Witch is good. House of M is okay. Okay.
I remember when House of M was coming out because my dad was reading it and he was just freaking out every time. Like he would get an issue. I was like young, so I don't really remember much, but I mean, I know what it is. We could do that sometime though. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I think we should. I'd like to read it. Joe says, I know I might be in the minority, but I enjoyed her fall, etc. in Avengers Disassembled and House of M. I bet I'd like them.
Yeah, let's do it.
They sound more fun than some other like big events, like crossovers, because I don't normally like a lot of them. And some people in the chat, Arya says, well, Carly says we should read the Nausicaa manga, which I've never read, actually. I watched every Ghibli movie, but...
I'm getting my notebook. I'm writing that down.
Reed said he would love to have us all read Nausicaa, and he needs to read it too.
Okay. March. Let's do it.
Okay.
I'm writing it down.
Philip says, I loved House of M, but I read it years ago, but I'm not sure how it aged. I'm interested. Like, that's one of those big Marvel events I haven't read, but I know about.
Yeah.
Because you have to know about it. Like, it's just such a big thing. And that sounds like so much fun. Oh, Jesse says the Vision Quest storyline in Avengers West Coast is pretty good. Okay. I'd like to read more Vision, too. And I need to go ahead and read everything about their kids because I haven't read anything of that group. I haven't read any Wiccan, like Speed. Is this the other one's name?
Yeah, I've read some of them in something. I can't remember what. And they were fun. I don't even know if I knew at the time that was even her kids. Like, you know,
I didn't, and I've been hearing about them for years. I had friends cosplay Wiccan. I was like, oh yeah, he's gay. And I was like, oh, that's neat. But I didn't read comic books then.
So aren't they in Young Avengers? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I read them in. Yeah, I like them.
I did add that to my Comixology Unlimited, so I read it.
Yeah, this runs great.
I need to get that cover.
You'll like it. I know, right? I love it.
So cute. Hey, I have not read Young Avengers.
It is very fun.
Carly says, I liked House of M, but I think events can be less fun to read after the fact. That is true. I think there's something to be said about reading events as they come out because you're all excited together. And I always felt like that's something that maybe I miss with Hick Avengers. That maybe if I was reading it week to week, I would feel differently.
Oh, I would have stopped it. If I was reading week to week, I'd be like, I can't.
But I have discovered I'm not a Hickman person. As much as I'd like to be.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with not.
I keep trying. I mean, Hoxpox was cool, but I never finished it. So if I read all of it now, I'm not gonna feel the same way.
Yeah.
I don't know. Both Wanted Kids are LGBT and we stan.
Nice.
Yeah, because the other one's bisexuals and I don't know, some love triangle thing. Oh, I need to read Champions as well. I think I'm going to finally get over my whole not wanting to read the other Nova thing and read Champions because I want to read it.
I'm writing this down too. We're getting a March list. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
we're doing this in advance.
You would have stopped it, not stopped reading. You would have went to Marvel and stopped.
That's right. I would have stopped the whole thing.
Just show up and be like, listen, there's really talented people. Just give them a chance.
Give all of these characters in this book their own story where I care about them more instead of just this big event I don't care about.
Or let these other writers that are so good and talented write these big, long stories.
Yeah.
That you always give to the same people. Why? I get it. They're talented. I understand. But at the same time, there are so many wonderful writers in Marvel that are never going to get the chance to write a long running story or arc like these same people are.
And keep an artist with
I don't want to say that there's something in common with them because then people get upset with me, but we know what they all have in common. And that's a problem.
That's just a fact. People
and I'm sure somebody's going to be like, any of them can write good stories. If they're right good, it'll happen.
Maddie.
I do. There's a ceiling. We all know. It's getting better. But they're still not writing big arcs.
Yeah.
So,
that's right.
I've been recommended just to talk and have fun, so I shouldn't say anything.
On here, though.
It's fine. It's Sunday night. Fangirls, we can say anything. You're not get in trouble.
We'll just get thumbs down. That's fine.
I don't know. We do anyways. People start the video like, ooh, girls.
Oh, boo.
Ugh.
It really is the moment, like, before we even start. They're there. So, whatever.
But if boobs, why read comics?
It's really the big question on the internet. Yeah.
There's
clearly they don't know how to read.
Those figures? No.
Book? Nah.
Anyways, Jessica says that Young Avengers has my whole heart.
That's great. Oh, I love how Joe is agreeing with us. Hick Avengers was not fun. See, nobody else says that, Joe, so thank you. I never hear it. Maddie and I talk about it, but
yeah, man. And I read it like twice. I just didn't.
Oh, that's too many times.
It's way too many. Carly, I'm hoping you asked. I finished Eternals. It was fine. Helped as an intro, but felt incomplete, like a prequel. Apparently, the current Giles run is a direct sequel, though. I need to read it. Well, actually, I don't need to read Eternals. You said it was fine. I'll watch a comic story and video about it.
Figure it out.
Man, if that's a YouTube channel I could just like promote all the time. I love Comic Storian.
Yeah, they're great.
I love his channel. I think it's great. It's easy to listen to. It's easy to follow. And help me get into more comics.
That's
I think I love it. Ellie makes fun of it every once in a while because he's just like, and then Vision jumps in because he's so animated. But I like it. I think since Young Avengers are coming to MCU, they'll probably do something with them in the comics again. I'm sure that they will.
Yeah.
Because they're basically, I mean, we've known this for a while, but they're setting up Young Avengers.
Oh, yeah. And that's going to be so good.
So glad. We should talk more about the book, I guess.
I'm joking.
There's some characters in there that seemed really cool that I would like to know more about them. I feel like I'm not going to get a chance to. Like the girl in Hong Kong. I thought she sounded really cool.
Oh, yeah.
And you did kind of get to see a little bit more about her later, like her mom and stuff.
Yeah. And it's like you said, there were like the bones were there, right? There were definitely a lot of things that were like, okay, this is a good idea for a story. Okay. Again, the depression thing, I mean, that's what I kept hearing about this run, that she really talked about it. And it's like, well, she mentioned it. And we see the therapy issue, which again, I think is one of probably the best issues in this, just because you just don't see it, right? But it still wasn't really explored. It wasn't really talked about. She mentioned it.
Yeah, no.
But you didn't really that was very surface level, right?
Yeah.
And that's the praise that I kept hearing. Like, oh, she talks about it. It's so good. And I'm like, what am I missing here? Because am I missing issues? Because like, I didn't.
Yeah, because that's one of those things, right? Where they like, yeah, they mentioned it, but it didn't feel like it was a part of her at all.
Yeah.
And I think with what she's going through, it would have made more sense. Like it could have done better. And I think other books have. I think Hawkeye by Matt Fraction did a great job showing a character that like really is not doing great.
Going through it. Yeah.
Yeah. Tom King can do that with characters too. Mr. Miracle was obviously depressed. That wasn't a problem. That was easy to follow.
There were some unfortunate visuals that showed that. Yeah.
Yeah. I just didn't get that from this. I would have liked more of her just like not knowing what to do. Why she always, I don't know. I want her to learn from these people, and she didn't really. She just showed up. There was some exposition about them, and then she saved them. They were done. That's what I felt like.
Yeah.
And again, I still enjoyed this book. But I could see what it could be.
There should have been more meat there, right?
Yeah.
And there wasn't. There was a lot hinted at, or like kind of like, here's a thing, and it just we never really got to explore it. Someone mentioned earlier, like with the show, you're feeling what she's feeling. You're caring about every part of that, and that was just completely, in my opinion, lacking from this. And what made me not be able to connect with the character, I was just like, well, I need to care more about this.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to like Hick Avengers, that's why I didn't care about that. I was like, no, none of these characters are having, it's just all like this, boom, 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 this thing. And I'm just like, well, what about the characters though? What are they feeling? Like, that's what I want to know about, right?
Yeah.
And this was the perfect opportunity for her to explore that. And like you said, they've done it well with many other characters who get their own stories, and we get to feel what they're feeling and like give a crap about them. You know, even Vision, and it's been very well done, and I didn't feel it.
Yeah, especially with the woman who has been through so much trauma. Literally, you know, made up kids in a whole world and then lost those kids because they weren't real and they came back, but they were aged up. She's gone through a lot, you know, a lot of trauma. And a lot has been because of her mental illness, and it's not really shown. But you're right, like watching WandaVision, I think, as a mentally ill person, as a lot of comic readers probably are, I assume most people that have this sort of hobby, you probably got some anxiety and depression. Then again, it's 2021 and there's a pandemic. Well, we're all mentally ill now, right? That's a mentally ill woman. I can relate to it. She's gone through some stuff and she's doing her best to hold it all together. Again, I don't see that here. She's still just like kicking butt. Like, no, be weak, struggle.
Yeah. Go through things. We want to see it.
Mess up. Have a messy apartment or something.
Yeah.
She-Hulk. All She-Hulk runs right now are like, girl's doing her best. But she does not have it together. That's what I want.
I love that. Yeah.
That's what I want. There's so many other things.
I know. I'm
looking. Thanks for doing this, guys. Everyone was hyping the Scarlet Witch collection, so it's good to hear a counterweight just to just the hype.
I appreciate that comment because I have seen so many people hype it, and it's just like, well, save your money. Like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think if you can find it at a cheaper rate or something. I mean, like, again, there are a lot of great artists on this, and there's a lot of good pieces.
Yeah, and if you're interested in it, do what we did. You can at least read the first volume on Comixology Unlimited.
And you can read all of it on Marvel Unlimited. Maybe you're find it better than me.
Well, and right now you can't really find it, right? So if you're missing out, just maybe check into some of it. Yeah, online.
It's so weird that how much the loss of the twins affected Wanda, and in turn the 616. Since Children's Crusade, she barely gives a f about them kids, and that happens in the book. She literally mentions that. She's because the therapist is like, "Hey, so you have kids? Why are you so disconnected?" Again, Great Bones does not deliver.
Yeah.
And I was interested. I was like, "Oh yeah, tell me what's up." And she's like, I don't really talk to them because like I didn't experience their life. They're reincarnations of my children that I thought I had that were from the devil. Complicated. And she's like, they're they grew up without me, so I don't have that experience with them, and so I just don't feel connected. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and I will give props to that issue again. I think it's something that I would love to see with more of these, especially the ones that actually dive into the character more. Let's do a whole therapy issue. That's cool. Oh, yes. That's interesting, So that's
what I wanted from Heroes in Crisis. I just want a whole book that's just therapy for superheroes. Nothing else. Don't complicate it. Don't let them all get murdered.
Yeah.
DC.
Yeah. So they did a really good thing, and that's probably the issue where we learned more about her than the entire run. So that's one that should be lifted up. But
all right, Jesse, this is a difficult question. Yes, he is their father, technically. However, he did not help raise them, as far as I know, right? Because he technically is their father, but they weren't actually real, but they were real. And parts of their soul was from the devil, Mephisto. And then they didn't exist anymore. And I don't know exactly the reason why. I've seen some things that Agatha ate them. I don't know. Anyways. And then they got reborn, but they're reincarnations. So I don't know how directly it is with that. I think he's still considered their father, but he didn't really raise them. Now, somebody in the chat can step in. This is my understanding.
Yeah, and to my understanding, they weren't really raised, right?
Yeah, they just kind of like were older. He was their teammate in Avengers, but he was rebooted and didn't know them. Sounds like Max Affair Heroes in Crisis. How dare you? You know. Everyone knows not. They're not. They were projections of Mephisto's power, and he then reabsorbed them. All of my knowledge now is coming from research for WandaVision, like the rest of the internet, which is great. 10 out of 10 show. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would totally buy a Heroes on the Couch omnibus. Yeah.
That's exactly, we've said it a lot, but it's true. That's exactly what we want. I want to see what you're watching on TV after you go save lives.
Yeah.
Or you like go get hurt. Very bad.
We know Scarlet Witch's kids watch Yo Gabba Gabba.
Yeah. I want to know. I want to know what potato chips you're eating on the couch because you can't do anything else. I want to know.
Comics are dumb. They're sold back in time and enter the bodies of other kids in two separate families, but somehow are still identical.
Comics are soap operas. That's what they are.
They are. And that's... I think people would be less up their butt about it if, like, you know, like the toxic fans or whatever, if they realize that that's basically what it is and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Because I'm sure there's a lot of comic book fans that be like, oh, I will never watch Grey's Anatomy, or This Is Us, or How to Get Away with Murder, or a soap opera, right? That's too much. But then comics.
But then you say something like that, and you're like, but remember when this and this and this and this, and then there's an evil twin?
It's the same thing.
That's the
same thing. People come back from the dead. Your good guy turned bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a clone.
They're not really dead always, like you said. Someone's pregnant and then they're not, or like they're pregnant with half the people.
Almost get married but don't get married.
Yeah.
Somebody else gets married at the wedding.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
We know. I like the Mockingbird series. They had a bit of that theme. I loved a Mockingbird. I loved that one. I know a lot of people did not on the internet.
Yeah.
But I really liked it.
That's right.
Justice League International is a bit of that slice of life, in between moments sort of thing. One of the few lighthearted DC things. That's what I've heard, and I really, really, really want to read it.
That's fun.
I need to get the omnibus. It looks hilarious. That crew of people are some of my favorite superheroes. Reed says, dude, X-Men School's Netflix watch list is probably jacked up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Man, you two are dropping some truth bombs. Thanks, Carly.
Oh, I like how earlier I forgot, but Joe was like, Christmas review, meh. Pretty much. I don't know.
Well, I knew coming in because I saw your Goodreads. It said 2 out of 5. I was like, ooh, we're in for something interesting.
That was the first volume, yeah. And it did go up a bit, but a bit. And I gave the therapy issue, I think, a 4 or something. I'm like, yeah, I appreciate that, but didn't care. It just didn't care.
Yeah. It's hard because there's some great Marvel books, like single character ones that I love.
Mm-hmm.
Love, especially the lady ones. I love so many of those lady comics, and they're only ever 2 volumes, but they're all so good. And that's what I expected from this. And then I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought too.
Yeah. Comics are wild and they usually don't work, but we stick around for the few times that they do work. Yeah.
That's fair.
It's true. Well, I've been reading other things. Do you want to hear about
it? Tell me about it. Yeah.
Because I don't think we have anything else left to say about this.
Yeah.
Although it was some bullshit that Agatha didn't look like her for like 2 volumes for no reason.
I mean,
but everyone else looked the same. Who didn't get the memo?
That's where the art confusion comes in, right? Because like from issue to issue, your character should not be that drastically different. No. Like I shouldn't be like, who's this? What? And I was like that. Why?
So confusing. Oh, before I talk about this, good question. How do you both record comics you read on Marvel Unlimited on Goodreads? Do you just use the paperbacks or go issue by issue? I do paperbacks.
It depends for me. So sometimes the issue by issue isn't on Goodreads. And if I don't feel like adding all those, I'm not going to do that. For like, and I think when I'm like struggling through something like this one, I'm doing it issue by issue too. I like to do, most of the time I like to do however I read it. So whatever format it is.
Yeah.
Like I recently read a whole omnibus. I'm counting that as one. I read this issue by issue. That's what I'm counting it as. So, but if the issues aren't on there, I'm just going to do the trades because I'm not trying to add all these issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because that would give you some issues. Am I right? No. That was for Elliot. So I've been reading, I love Goodreads now because I can go back and see how much I've read. Because Comixology does not keep track of it for me.
Yeah.
But I've been reading Tokyo Tarareba Girls. It's by the same person who did Jellyfish Princess or Princess Jellyfish. It's so good. Oh my God, Kristen, so good.
Did you buy those volumes?
No, I read them on Comixology because they've added a bunch of manga now to Unlimited.
Oh, yeah.
So I think the whole series is on here. I read 5 in a day.
I didn't realize that. Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out though.
Yeah, I read like 5 in a day. I could have read more. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's about these like 3 women that are like early 30s living in Tokyo that are single. And, never, like they're all complaining about their lives and like not finding someone because in Tokyo and Japan, there's still like a very big, like, hey, you should be married by now. And it's hard to get married. And they feel like they're too old, like they've missed out. And they never have like a perfect relationship either. Like dating a younger guy or like dating a guy that's like married, but he says he's separated. Or dating your ex that you were in love with when you were younger, but he has a girlfriend now. You're the side piece. It's so funny. It is so good. You would love it. Like it's the art's great because Princess Jellyfish is wonderful. Oh,
what's it called again? Tokyo what?
Tokyo Tarareba Girl. So Tarareba.
Okay.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up. I didn't realize it was on Comixology. Yeah, I know they added so much manga, and then I felt overwhelmed. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna read, and then I was like, I don't know what to read.
Yeah, I just went through on my like borrow list, and I just added the first volume of a bunch of different ones.
Yeah,
to read through.
That's a good idea.
And I picked this one up and just could not stop. And I didn't want to stop. I'm at 5, and I think there's like 4 more to go.
Oh, nice. That's not long.
It's so relatable. It's so good. Like the main girl, she's like a TV writer, but she's struggling. She doesn't really feel like she has her place in life. And she, like the younger girl, is so much more vibrant, and she feels like that's the person who's getting the jobs in her, like, and she meets this young model guy who like said he's kind of mean to her and her friends. Like, oh, you like gaggling gossips, loudly talking in a bar, like, what are you? You're such a trope now. Like, what's wrong with you? But the kind of her thing. Oh, so good.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out.
Very mature, wonderful. Cannot recommend enough. I've just 5-starred it all the whole way.
Beautiful.
Oh.
See, and you can say that now. Doesn't that make you feel nice?
Yeah, right.
I could start it. You're looking up your reads. Oh, it's beautiful.
I know. I like Goodreads. I get it now.
Yeah.
It's so quick. I just go in there right after. I put the thing in so I don't forget.
Yeah. And now you're looking, and I had to look. I'm like, what have I read?
Yeah.
Now
it's nice. I pick something up. I read it. Maybe I read a review. Maybe I don't. It's fine. Jessica, I will say that you can't read this one in panel by panel. Like you can't do guided reading. I don't know about the other manga, but this one you can't.
I think it's with some of the older ones that you can.
I think they prefer that you don't or something. It's about the reading style. So, but it's still like maybe being page by page would still be more helpful. I grew up on manga, so it's like, it's just life now.
Yeah.
By the way, on your recommendations, I got read and loved Wonder Woman Dead Earth. Yay!
Yeah.
I also recently got Simone's Wonder Woman Omni. I'm really excited to read that. Yay!
Nice.
Jennifer's so good.
Oh, that spine. I'll never be over the spine.
Ugh.
Spine whip.
Literal, yeah.
Spine
Literal spine.
Literal spine. I'm going through my reads right now, and another thing. Speaking of the issue by issue thing on Goodreads, it was especially good with this for me to do it that way because some issues I liked more than others, right?
Yeah.
Like the therapy one, I like that more than probably a lot of the others. Some of them are just like, "What is this?" And with the art changing, it's like, well,
oh yeah. Some of them are beautiful, and I wish I could. Yeah. I wish I wrote down the artists that I really like, because if you got a good one, you're just like, wow.
Yeah.
It made you appreciate it more.
Yeah.
Like totally. Marguerite Sauvage, who did like the Bombshells art.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I loved her issue in this. I thought it was beautiful and clean.
And when you got the good ones, you were like, there's more, right? And there was never more.
I just wanted to live in that one. It's just cozy.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, I'm with you. I mentioned before Thirsty Mermaids was coming out by Kat Lay, who did Snapdragon, and I read it earlier and I loved it. It was so good. So to remind anyone who doesn't know what that is, Thirsty Mermaids is about these mermaids at the bottom of the ocean, find some human booze, and they're like, this is great. And they run out of it. And they're like, man, how do we get more of this stuff? Like, what are we going to do? And one of them was like, I know. We'll change our forms with magic. Our magic that we have will be humans. We'll go to dry land. And we're going to get more booze. It's going to be awesome. And they're like, yeah, what a good idea. It's just a trio of mermaids. And
that's great.
They go up to dry land and they change into the human form. They get to a bar. They find some like pants in an alley and get a credit card. Because they're like, well, what's money? Like, what do you need? Oh, we found this thing. Does this work? Okay. And that's how they get it. Because they're just so confused with all human things. They're like, what is, I don't understand. They're even like, why do we have legs? It's weird. So, and it's so funny. And they're all like so distinct in their characters. Like one of them is really like big buff girl. And just like, they're all like very distinct personality types. And I love it. So they do that. And then they get really drunk and they wake up the next day in an alley and they're really hungover. And they're like, what happened? What's going on? They meet a really cool bartender that night and she's lovely to them. And the bartender finds them in the alley the next morning. She's like, did y'all sleep in the alley? No judgment. It's fine. And she kind of takes them in from there because they realize when they're in human form, they don't have their magic. How are they going to get back? Shit. So then that's the rest of the book. They're like, how do we get back? But we have to figure out human life. And this bartender's letting us stay with her. But apparently you need money for rent, whatever that is. So then they have to try to find jobs. It's like, it is so fun. There's so many like diverse, great characters, many representations. One of the mermaids was like, what do they call it? Like some kind of like a sea witch.
Okay.
So she was like distinctly different than them, and felt extra weird in her human body. And like the bartender was like, do you know what body dysmorphia is? Like dysphoria is like, and so there was that whole discussion. And it was just lovely. I loved everything about it. It was so funny.
This is what comics
You're going to love it. Yeah, you're going to love it. It's so good. Everyone should check it out. But yeah, it's just a blast. It's really fun. And there's just so much there. So much that's explored. Speaking of exploring characters, it's easy to do, Marvel. I don't understand.
So easy. First Second does it so well.
It's so good. And I think Gallery 13 puts this out. And
okay.
Oh man, it's great. You're gonna love it.
I'm in. 5
whole stars. It's great.
I'm in. Definitely.
Yeah.
I gotta read me some non-big too. Oh, I read World of Wakanda.
You loved it, right? You liked it?
I didn't.
You didn't love it. You liked it.
I liked it a lot.
Okay.
There's a lot of like quick changes in between that kind of disrupted the narrative. However, very gay. I just centered all these 2 gay women.
You know, I think I heard that.
That's great. I had no idea.
I was interested because of Roxane Gay, right?
Oh yeah, I love Roxane Gay.
Yeah, she's
Absolutely.
Great.
Love it.
But I never checked it out. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, now I want to read more Black Panther for them because I heard that they're in their stuff.
Nice.
So I had no idea. I was like, oh, it'll just be like a wider Wakandan story or whatever. And then I started reading it. And I was like, wait, it's just about these two women. Cool.
This is great. Yeah.
Elliot's in the same room.
Oh,
so it's really weird to have the delay.
That's funny.
Trying to think else. I bought a lot of stuff, but I need to save that, I guess, until we have a hauls.
Reed, just get in the chat. I told you if you want to talk to me. I haven't seen you in the chat. If you have something to say to me, put it in the chat. That's what I'm telling you. Look, I can't hear you. Anyway, he's gone. Okay.
So now that you've caught up on WandaVision, non-spoilers, of course.
Mm-hmm.
What's your overall feeling about it?
I love it. I have a lot of feelings. Monica's so good.
So good. Finally.
Can we give her like 4 seasons of her own show? That'd be great. Like just.
Well, yeah. I want more of her, more of Agent Wu.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
More Darcy, just all of them. Like I want them to have their own show where they just investigate things.
Yes. That trio is the best.
The best.
They came together. I was like, yeah, like, oh, they're the best. I definitely want, as we talked about pre-show, I want more of Emma Caulfield. I love her. Give her her own show. Dottie Vision. Let's do it. I'm in.
Oh, yeah. Well, we know Dottie's big game because Marvel had to like approve that, you know? She's something. She better be anyways. Chris and I were like, maybe because we just love her so much because of Buffy that we just really want her to be something big.
Well, I think about like all the, no offense, Emma, but the kind of garbage movies and stuff she did after Buffy, but I watched all of them. Like Darkness Falls wasn't great. Do you remember that one?
I know I've seen it, but I don't have any.
That was the horror movie about like the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, but that was like forever ago.
Oh, it was forever ago. I liked it, but it was bad. You know, I can admit that it was not good.
Well, a lot of the Buffyverse crew didn't really go on to do a lot of really great things, and there's a ton that did.
There's a good amount,
but there's some that just didn't.
Yeah, like, and I watched every garbage trash movie that Eliza Dushku did after, and they're not great. I loved Wrong Turn, but it wasn't great. I know it wasn't great. I loved it. But she did a lot of other bad ones. So like a lot of them went through that. And there's been some good things that they did, but
Nicholas Brennan he's trash, but he was in a really good movie recently that I liked.
Really? Recently? He's still getting work?
It was a few years ago, I think. Okay. But you know, karma, his butt and penis is paralyzed, so
I mean, do we want to talk about I just love it. I don't love, but that was his statement to it. Like people were reporting, here are the men that finally said something about the situation because like it was all women, like, hey, this, you know. And he was one of them, and they were like, he put out an interesting statement about Joss Whedon, which was basically, hi, my butt's broken. Peace out.
Well, yeah, and then he said something later, but I think he literally said something about like not beating people up or something.
Oh, yeah.
Which was hilarious because he literally assaults people. Nicholas Brennan. So I was like, okay.
It's rough. It's very
rough. I don't know. You know, Joss Whedon we already knew, right? We've known.
Yeah.
Now we know more so.
And now it feels even worse, yeah.
Yeah, which is a bummer. And the one thing we don't know about that I'm still worried about, because you know, the allegations against Joss with Justice League movie from Cyborg are also in tandem, right? With some allegations against Jeff Johns, whether he perpetuated or he just allowed it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm like, oh no, Jeff, that's a big one, right? And so I don't want that. We have
Would
you like to read out Reed's?
Oh, okay. Reed the Lester Kickstarter. I want to let you know about it since you're my wife. I was waiting to tell you in person. Okay. Yeah, he brought that in here earlier. He's like, I may do it, I may not. I'm like, well, you need to tell me then, because I will talk about it if you do it. So his Kickstarter is called Sad Religion. This is a great cover. Come on now. And it's a collection of mini comics. Reed, you can tell more about it if you want, but it's really great.
I love that.
It's also a little oversized. 8.5 by 11.
We love the oversized.
Yeah, 100-something pages. I don't know, Reed. I don't remember how many pages. But yeah, you should check it out. And you should go get this book and support Reed, who lives in my house.
And that's Reed the only has the link here.
Oh, Reed is a terrible link.
But maybe we can find a way to post it later. I don't know if, or we can tweet it out or something.
Yeah, you can put it in the description.
Yeah.
It'll be linkable
there. Reed Elliott says he'll pay attention to you. It will back your Kickstarter.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
That would be awesome.
But only if you sign it with a funny message to Elliot.
Boom. I feel like he can do that.
Elliot says, wow, that looks wonderful. Is Gail here? She should shout you out.
Oh my gosh. I wish she was here.
Gosh, I can't ever handle that again because it's the funniest thing that's ever happened to us.
It's so weird.
I still don't know how to deal with like comic creators showing up and things.
Why does it keep happening?
I don't know.
Right? Like, it's cool, but it's weird.
Man. Oh, what's this? There was some whispering going on about, is it a Whisper Network? About some YouTube channels when Me Too began, that there was some stuff about Johns that no one was going to be happy about if it comes out, but nothing came of it. Well, you never know with anyone, right? You don't know.
You don't know until you know.
It's a bummer. We all have to keep our fingers crossed. Like, what would I do if it was Terry Moore? You know what I mean? Like, oh.
Wouldn't be great.
Bummed. That'd be great. Oh, thank you. That's a good question. We're just rambling now. What's on deck for reading next month? Well,
apparently we're going to do Nausicaa. Are we going to do that?
Sure. Let me figure out if I can read it easily online.
I feel like it was on Comixology. Maybe.
I do not have the box set.
I do have the box set. It's beautiful.
If we don't do that, can we read Rose of Versailles because we both own it? And we're never going to read it if we don't.
There's only 3 coming out, right? Or 3 out right now. Not coming out. There's 5 total, but...
Yeah, I've got all 3.
Okay, because I only have 3. I read the first one. It was great, so I will definitely... I'll write that down.
And read House of M, maybe? Or Young Avengers, or...
Champions. I wrote that down, too.
One of those sounds nice.
Yeah, so we'll read one of those. And one of those other manga, right?
Yeah. And we'll still talk about One Piece.
Yeah. Which, can we talk about that real quick?
Yeah.
I don't remember where we're ending. And I think what happened...
Water 7, right? Is the end of that? Are you past it?
I looked up when Water 7 ends, because I'm like, they're still in Water 7, but I think it's a different arc I'm in now. So I'm confused.
What just happened for you?
Okay, so I'm trying to remember. There's so much going on. It's just more battles. Okay, so
they're definitely in oh gosh, I know what it's called.
The lobby one, right? Is that right?
Ennis Lobby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I consider that to be part of that arc technically because you're not like done.
And that's where my confusion came, because I looked it up. I was like, where am I supposed to end? And then it was like, you're in a different arc, and I'm like, am I? Okay.
Yeah. So like, it'll make more sense after this, but like, to me, Water 7 and Ennis Lobby are like, because it's all together, because you're not done until they get them all out there, right?
Right.
They're together. When they get back on the ship all together and Frankie is also there, to me, that's the end of the arc.
Okay, so I'm gonna read until then.
Unless it's too much, and then we'll work it out.
I want to get to the point where they're done battling in this battle.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, guys, I get it, but I'm a little over this part. Like, I'm just like, okay, we know what's gonna happen. So, like,
I know.
you're a
I
giraffe
know.
man, okay? Can we just?
Yeah,
Although that's been really funny.
I love Kaku. I think he's hilarious.
I loved when Zoro was like, horseman. He's like, I'm a giraffe, and he's like, you look a little horsey to me. Like, oh, that was good.
Man, like I think some of the fight, because there's still going to be a lot of fights because it's shonen, but I feel like some of that gets better later because you're more like, oh, his power developed differently, and it becomes part of the theories. You're like, okay, why is this? Who's going to be the next? How else can the power develop? Which isn't kind of what this happens here. You can read until Robin's story is resolved, says Elliot. Watch out for that Buster call. Oh, I can't.
It's happening.
Yeah, because you're past that now. You've had to have gotten Robin's backstory then since they're fighting.
Yeah, they haven't like saved her yet though. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, but did she do the whole like I want to live?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm like, did she? Well, because I had like a big break of a pause where I had to do other show reading.
yeah.
And then I came back to it. So.
If it showed when she was a kid and stuff happened, then yeah.
I
Oh,
think so. Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
I know we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, why am I talking about it now?
I gotta show it to you animated so you can just hear the laugh. Because he goes, the big giant's like, Dennis, she. And then she's like, Dennis, she. Like,
oh, I love it. I love that giant.
I have a little figure of her with the Dennis, she laugh when she's a kid. Ugh.
That's so cute.
Depressing.
Yeah.
I love her so much. I guess we're over time, but yeah, that's the plan that we have so far, Jessica.
So
if you have any recommendations, let us know.
Please let us know. Leave us a comment. Also, again, check out Reed's Kickstarter, Reed Cancer, Sad Religion, collection of mini comics. Help him get to his goal.
And it's oversized, y'all.
Come on, we love that.
We love a nice oversized hardcover, you know?
And it's affordable. Check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe I can read some stuff I got from Ollie's. I don't know. Is Uncanny X-Men good? Jessica bought that too. We both bought it.
The big fatty volume, right? I saw that at
I got like $7.
Yeah, big chonker. I have that book. And I was kind of mad that I had it. You know, when you see somebody at Ollie's, you're like, oh, I probably paid way too much for that.
Oh yeah, the whole time I was like, do I need this?
But it's so chonk, right?
It's like $7 though. I was like, well, you know.
Yeah.
I should buy it. I think I bought that and like Black Canary Zatanna because them hanging out looks cool. And Star Wars Lando, it's like $3. And some other Marvel trade. I don't even remember what it is now. Who knows?
Fun.
Yeah.
Worth it for the prices, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's just fun to go to Ollie's.
Yeah.
Good well, it's terrifying there, but you know.
It usually is, right?
Yeah. Anyways, I'm just rambling now. Thank you all for a good show. As usual, you guys it's so good to hang out with Kristen, hang out with you all. Like, I forget how much of a mood boost this is until it's over. And then I'm like, so fun.
Yeah, thank you everyone for being here. Check out In-Stock Trades on Tuesday. Get that X-Men Evolution, 50% off. It's worth it.
Watch it.
I mean, if you love the cartoon, it's probably worth it.
And then let's read some fan fiction together. It'll be great. All right. Have a good night, everyone.